Bob was a loving husband of Kerry deceased, loved father and father-in-law of Terry and Ramita, John and Samantha, Tash and Tyler, adored pop of Justin, Caitlin, Ivy, Talia, Ayla, Jordan, Caitlin, and Lachlan. A best mate of Ken, beloved brother of Larry, and I'm sure that Bob will be missed by all of his family and his friends. And today, if you come here with your love, your care and respect for Bob, this morning we're going to say a kind of goodbye, but in a sense, Bob will always live on within our hearts and our minds. This is a time for expressing our sorrow at Bob's passing and a time to comfort those who are closest to him. But mostly this is about celebrating his life as he would have wanted us to do. He left some clear instructions with his good mate Ken, what he wanted said and done. There'll be an opportunity later on for anyone who wishes to come forward to share a few words or a sense of what Bob meant to you. But I do want to remind you that Bob's influence has not ended with his passing. He had a great warmth. He cared for others. He loved others, and he had wonderful values. And so they were always given out and shared around, and they would always be a part of you, the people that were closest to him. So he's not just part of your past. Each of you carries something important of him into your future every day. And the one thing that we can be certain of today is that Bob would not want you to remember him in sadness, but rather in love, perhaps with a smile and a thought for all the good and the happy moments of his life. And we're going to share some of the good and happy moments of his life. I'd like to ask his good mate and Rabbitohs supporter, Ken, come forward. There's a few around, isn't there?
First of all, Bob wanted me to thank everyone for being here today. We finally got the turnip planted, and that's going to happen pretty soon. Bob wanted me to thank a few people that meant a lot to him. There was Donnie Adams, Dave Madicott, and Bob Burgess, his golf buddies. There'll be no burglar in heaven, so I don't know if they're going to take Bob. There was one thing he was a burglar on the golf course. He had a good friend in Ron Perry. He's known Bob for a lot of years. I first met Bob in 1958. We were 5 years of age. And we've knocked around together for 63 years. He was larger than life, Bob. And someone said to me just recently that they have fond memories of Bob. And I think we all do. He didn't want everyone named. You all know what those memories are, and I've got a lot of memories of Bob. Many, a lot of funny ones, a lot of not funny ones. Some pretty bad, actually. But he wanted you all to remember him, your individual memories. I'm not going to go into a lot of stuff that we did, but he was a fun guy, good mate, and we're going to miss him. He asked me to say to his kids, Terry, John and Natasha, you're his world, but you're also his legacy, as are your children. Rest in peace, buddy. Fatso. You'll always be Fatso. And that was it. That was all he wanted.
Thanks, Ken. I'd like to ask Terry, you all right to come up, mate, and say a few words?
It's harder than I thought. On behalf of the family, we'd just like to thank everyone for coming. And, yeah, Dad was always full of life, and he always seen the brighter side of things. And very rarely did you see him without a smile on his face. And he loved his friends and his family, and he was always there to have a joke and a laugh. And if you were down, he'd find a way of picking you up. And I'll never forget probably one of my favourite memories, because Dad loved watching us kids play sport, and he passed on his competitive genes to us, and we used to go training with him and Darryl Rose. And I forget, we used to go running up the beach. We'd slowly jog up there, do about 10 sprints up the dunes, have a quick swim, and then it was a handicap race back. So Dad used to always beat me, and he'd catch me, and then he'd sprint off on me, and then I'd catch back up to him, and he'd sprint off on me, and I could never catch him. Well, the day finally came when I was 14, and I finally did it. I got fitter than the old bugger, and so I thought I'd give him a dose of his own medicine. So I started sprinting off on him, and I'll never forget, once we got to the finish line, he just crash-tackled me into the surf. "You cheeky little bugger, you're doing that to your father." I said, "Don't worry, I can't wait to get home and tell Mum." And I'll never forget that day. He had a lot of close friends, and but I'd really like to say a big thank you to Nan and especially Ken. Ken was his best mate, and what you did for him towards the end was unbelievable, and I know Dad appreciated it. And you'll never forget Ken, and we'll never forget what you done, But I went to school since kindergarten, and I've just grown up. Every time we went for holiday, it was to go and see Ken and his family, and as long as you're around, Ken, it's like part of Dad still with us. And I'd just like to thank you for everything you've done and been such a great mate to Dad. Once again, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming, and later we'll go and have a beer for Dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Sure he was proud, mate, when you take the crown off him there. I'd like to open up the lectern now if there's any other family or friends that would like to come up and share something about Bob. Maybe some of the football fellas or referees. Anybody that want to come and share something? Thanks, mate. What's your name? G'day, Grant.
It's a funny one today because our friend Bob is, left us. But the thing about Bob is that he always left us feeling better. And I think we were so lucky to have a man like him in our community. He was a smile, a joke, a pleasant conversation. What more can a human being do? He fills my heart with such happiness to have been able to know somebody like Bob, who, by the way, was no better than he ought to have been. He was a stir and a good-natured man, and I was very privileged to know him. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. Is there anyone else?
Hey folks, I'm Rob, this Vanessa's is Libby. We work at Busways. We've been working with Bob. I've been there for quite a while. Libby's just new. And Vanessa's been there for a while also. And Ken, we remember Ken from Busways too. Anyway, we'd just like to say condolences to the family, and we'll miss Bob too, because he was good to work with. Like everyone's been saying, he's, big-hearted fella, always had a good joke. He always, had something good to say. And I know that I spoke to Bob a few weeks back, and he said that, he knows where he's going. He's going to be reunited with Kerry, and he said it's hard for his family. Going to be missing him, but he knows that he's going to a better place. So that's some comfort, eh? And anyway, we just like to wish you all the best, in the future. Just, hope you get through it, and, if there's anything any of us can do just to help you on that journey, yeah. Thanks, guys. And
he was great to have around.
Yeah.
He was always the smiley jokester
Yeah.
at the depot, and would always put a smile on all our faces.
Yeah.
Every time we turned out to work and he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to miss him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gonna miss him heaps.
Yeah.
I just want to add that I only got to work with him for about a year, and he was a fantastic mentor. Out of all the drivers, he was the one I probably spent the most time with, and he was so much fun to be with, as he cultivated my confidence. He felt he was free to, step away, and I'd look in the mirror while I was driving, and he'd be up the back of the bus sharing the kids' afternoon tea with them. And he knew something about every one of them, He could follow on from the last conversation he'd had with them. He was so kind and fatherly to them, and he just had such a fantastic sense of humour. And so as we drove along on our journeys, he would say things like, "Oh yeah, I hit that. Yeah, and I hit that too." And, he was just so humble and real about the way he communicated. It was just wonderful to know him for a short time. And he spoke about his family with a lot of pride and love. So, just filling in one of the little pieces in his life that you may not have known as much about.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob and Vanessa and Libby. That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else that wanted to share something about Bob? When I was sitting with the family the other day, we were going through a few of the jobs that Bob did throughout his life. And in fact, I'm not sure everybody knows he was an undertaker there for a while as well. So, he was good at his job. Always turned up presentable. I didn't have to worry about asking him to cut his hair. He didn't have much to worry about. I guess he's good mates with Ken. They're in that same party. Sorry, Terry as well. I used to have to say sometimes to him, "Hey, Bob, probably don't smile as much." It's because he always loved to smile. He's a cheeky bugger as well, eh? So, but we're going to miss him, and I am thankful, like Rob said, that he is together with Kerry, and they are in a better place, and we've got to believe that. There's a few people I'm sure that he'll be able to catch up with. I'd like to ask now Caitlin to come up and share a beautiful poem that's in the order of service. You all right to do that, Caitlin?
Remember me with smiles, not tears, for all the joy through all the years. Recall the closeness that was ours, a love as sweet as fragrant flowers. Don't dwell on the thoughts that cause you pain. We'll see each other once again. I'm at peace, try to believe. It was my time, I had to leave. But what a view I have from here. I see your face, I feel you near. I follow you throughout the day. You're not alone along the way. And when God calls you, you will be right by my side, right here with me. Till then, I'll wait by heaven's door. We'll be united even more.
Thank you, Caitlin. As we look in our order of service, we have a song that we'd like to play now for Bob. It's called 5 O'Clock Somewhere. And during this time, I'd like to ask members of the family and friends to come up and place a flower and say your own goodbye to Bob.
Sun is hot and that old clock is moving slow, and so am I. Workday passes like molasses in wintertime, but it's July. Getting paid by the hour and older by the minute. My boss just pushed me over the limit. I'd like to call him something. I think I'll just call it a day. Pour me something tall and strong. Make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, this lunch break is gonna take all afternoon and half the night. Tomorrow morning I know there'll be hell to pay. Hey, but that's alright. I ain't had a day off now in over a year. My Jamaican vacation's gonna start right here. If the phone's for me, you can tell them I just sailed away. And pour me something tall and strong. Make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I could pay off my tab, pour myself in a cab, and be back to work before 2. At a moment like this, I can't help but wonder, what would Jimmy Buffett do?
Funny you should ask, Alan. I'd say, pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. Pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care.
He don't care. And I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
What time zone am I on? What country am I in?
It doesn't matter. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's always on 5 in Margaritaville, come to think of it.
Yeah, I heard that.
You've been there, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
I've seen your boat there.
I've been to Margaritaville a few times.
All right, well, that's good.
Stumbled my way back.
Okay, we just want to make sure you can keep it between the navigational beacons.
Between the buoys, I got it.
All right, well, it's 5 o'clock. Let's go somewhere.
I'm ready. Crank it up.
Let's get out of here.
I'm gone.
Yep. All right. Okay. Yep. There's a few people that are watching on. Sorry, you want? Yeah. I'll just pass to Larry first. Won't be a second.
I'd just like to say thank everybody. Most people, a lot of you don't know me, I'm Rob's brother. I want to talk, but it's hard to keep it together. There's his best cousin, who we buried a few years ago, Liz, she'd be watching on the thing, and my son, he wanted to come, but these airfares were just over the moon ridiculous. And I said to him, no, well, you can watch us on the live stream. As I said, a lot of you guys don't know me here, but I'm Robert's brother, and I speak to him every single week, have done for 20 years. None of you know that. On these new gadget things that we call them. Robert and I used to joke about how we do that one day, and we did it. And he was a good footballer, my brother. We played 4 years in the same comp and never played against each other. How's that for a freak? He broke his collarbone, and I busted my foot, and we carried off a couple of times. But and then Keith Anderson, g'day Keith, he's watching as well. Robert took up refereeing, and he became a first grade referee up here, and he was very proud that his boys played on. And he's I'm sorry I missed him the other day, but I got the last say, brother. I said to him, you can all hear this, I said, you're a prick, and I love you, and poke my tongue out and said goodbye. So I got the last say. Yeah, brother. Thank you very much, everybody.
You come over here, mate. Oh, you're going to sit down, is he? Thank you. Just got a little reading to do that I'm sure that Bob would have read many times and shared many times and heard many times. It's from the Bible, of course. It's 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake, and even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. This psalm again assures us that God is there for us, to lead us and guide us through times of trouble and through hardship. And he stays close to us, providing for us and loving us, even when we face those troubling times and days ahead with the hurts that are all too painful and real. He promises that he is there for us. All we need to do is just to ask him, and he will run and be our refuge and our strength. I just want to share 3 little things on that psalm. Only take a minute. Firstly, it means a change of environment. Everything down here has been touched by sin. All around us we find trouble of every kind. We've got people, in other countries blowing each other up. There's sickness and sorrow. There's pain and poverty. And unfortunately, there is death. Secondly, when God's people die, they go to a place where these things can never touch them again. Never again. There is for them a complete change of environment. They go from earth's discords to heaven's harmonies. From all that is bad to all that is good. From all that hurts us to all that brings happiness. And the third and final thing, it means a reunion with our loved ones, especially for Kerry. You may have sat by Bob's bedside and watched him pass away. You may have looked into his face for the last time and wept many tears. But Bob is not gone forever. Bob accepted Jesus as his Lord and Saviour, and he'll have eternal life, and we will see him again. I'd like to ask you now to please stand if you're being seated, if that's okay. You're right, Kath. You wouldn't mind if you sat, if you're yeah, you're right. As we come to the most difficult part of our service. You're right, Larry. You're right. And now tenderly, lovingly, and reverently, we farewell Edward Robert Bond into God's keeping. Wish Bob peace and eternity. He's now into the last sleep, free of any concern and care. But his spirit will live on in all of you who loved him and appreciated the part that he played in your life. And some important words. To love someone is to risk the pain of parting, and not to love is to never have lived. The pain and the tears that you have now is the honouring of your love for Bob. And if you have any regrets today, may they be turned into gratitude for the time that you shared with him. And family and friends, just as a sprinkle of rain comes, I asked Bob this morning on the way in, please turn it off, mate. And he did that. If you could please say these words, Bob, with our love, we let you go. Now, Bob, into the arms of eternity with Kerry and all the family gone before, together now as your family and friends. Bob, with our love, we let you go. And Bob, into our most precious memories, together now as your family and friends. Bob, with our love, we let you go. And Bob, into your freedom and peace until one day we are reunited with you again. Together now as your family and friends, we respond with these words. Bob, with our love, we let you go. Now earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. We've heard that Bob was always cheeky. I just got one little verse just to close off with, and his little message to us. And as I sit upon my cloud and look down upon the earth, I watch you use my worldly goods for festival and for mirth. And that will make me smile, a smile, and have a laugh quite hearty, to hear you say, the bugger's passed away, let's have ourselves a party. I'd like to invite you to the Ocean View Hotel, please. Come back and have a beer for Bob. He'd love you to have a beer for him, I'm sure, and have something to eat and share some more memories of him. And I hope you talk about a bit about the footy and everything. We're going to close with a very special song now. I think he had it on his phone, didn't he? Yeah. It's the Jets anthem song. And he was very envious of Terry. He got to meet Tommy Rodonigus, eh? So, thanks, Phil. Only goes for 45 seconds.
Newtown is coming, hear the bootlegs humming. Newtown, Newtown, Newtown is flying, there'll be no denying. Newtown, Newtown, 13 men all dressed in blue, look out 'cause they're coming through. Newtown, Newtown, here's the team that takes the field, it's the team that will not yield. Bluebacks in the crowd, they roaring, passion, blues are scoring. Newtown is coming.